Welcome to MCN. Now today we are riding a very special superbike. We're on the 2023 BMW M1000 RR. This bike was built as a homologation special, first came out in 2021. Best way to think of it is it's like an S1000 RR on steroids. It's the bike that is the basis for BMW's World Superbike Factory Racer and also raced by lots of teams all the way around the world. And it features a lot of special components that the race teams have asked for racing. So it's got a stronger engine, it's got slightly different geometry, but it hasn't had the success that BMW might have liked. So one of the things they've done for the 2023 model is thrown the kitchen sink at it with regards to aerodynamics. And to test those aerodynamics, what better place to come to a place where it's all whoops, swoops and jumps, the beautiful Cadwell Park. We've all seen Josh Brooks flying over the mountain on a BMW M1000 RR, so the wings aren't completely foolproof, but on a track like this, a superbike is always wanting to wheelie. There's lots of fast straights, so it'd be the perfect test for this very special motorcycle. So here she is in all her glory. Looks mean, looks like it's got a dustbin fairing, but we'll come back onto that in a second. This costs just over £30,000, about £30,600, and it's got a competition pack on it which takes it up to £36,000. And for that you get fancy levers, fancy foot pegs, lots of carbon fibre, including these wheel covers, which we'll come on to in a minute. So it's still the same M1000 RR as it always was, 209 bhp engine. The engine internals are a little bit different to the S1000 RR. They're just a little bit stronger and more tunable for the race teams. And in fact, the new S1000 RR's got the top end off this M1000 RR now. The chassis is the same as before, cast aluminium chassis. The competition pack chassis has got bare rear swing arm to save a little bit of weight. This weighs just over 191 kilos, fully fueled. So it's very, very light. It's got all the latest Evolution electronics, but not the new steering angle sensor that the S1000 RR's got. There's the dash, the familiar dash. But the things that are new for 2023 are purely down to aerodynamics. So it's got a wider fairing. You can tell this thing looks monstrous. And when you get on, you can see that this part of the fairing here is a lot wider, so you can get in behind it. BMW claims that this fairing allows a better top speed from a claimed 190 to 195 mile an hour. Not that we're going to be doing that at Cadwell today. It's also got these really nice shark gills that replicate the early S1000 RR. So you've got this fairing, it's made of carbon fibre, it's absolutely beautiful. And then continuing the aerodynamics, got a new front mudguard which wraps around the forks for better aerodynamics, and it also has inbuilt brake scoops to cool those new Nissan calipers that the M1000 RR had in 2021, and now the S1000 RR's got. The M1000 also comes with carbon fibre wheels, which have got a new finish on this year. And then we've got these wheel covers, and it almost gives the front end an almost enclosed look, like an old dustbin fairing. And BMW say that these wheel covers help aerodynamics above about 150 mile an hour, just to smooth the airflow. And then we've got aerodynamics. So this thing has got massive wings. They look even bigger in the flesh. So BMW say that the downforce on these wings at 180 mile an hour goes up from about 16 kilos and a bit to 22 kilos and a bit. So 22 kilos is like putting a sack of spuds on the front of the bike when you're going round. So BMW say, like all the manufacturers say with aerodynamics, that it helps stop wheelies under hard acceleration, sort of once you get up to high speed, second, third and fourth. More stability under brakes, and also with the wind pushing down on these wings, they help the front end dig into the corners a little bit more, so you've got more grip in the corners, more confidence, and theoretically more corner speed as well. But aside from that, it's the same M1000RR we know and love, just full of beautiful parts. You've got full titanium Kropovic exhaust. It's Euro 5, so you'd probably dump this anyway, but it's still a work of art. You've got the same suspension, Marzocchi suspension, which isn't semi-active. It's just mechanically adjustable. This has got a carbon fibre fairing bracket as well, this new bike, and as before, billet aluminium yokes. But yeah, that suspension doesn't move when you're going along like a semi-active system. So that makes the bike feel quite stiff on the road. You know, when you combine it with this M seat, the bike's quite kind of harsh and yeah, it doesn't like the bumps. It loves the smooth stuff, and it's also got very high seat height. You know, I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm almost on tiptoes riding it. So there you have it. It's a striking looking bike. You know, it draws a crowd wherever you go. You know, just with that front end. It runs Michelin Power Cup 2 tyres as standard. So we have dropped the pressures for today's track day. We haven't got any tyre warmers. Michelin recommend very low pressures for this. 22 on the rear and 30.5 on the front, which is very, very low. So for the first few laps until the tyres warm up, it's going to feel like riding on flat tyres. But after that, I'm sure it'll be fine. So without further ado, let's get on the track. So that's Cadwell Park on an M1000RR, pretty intense. I mean, before I even talk about the aero, this bike is bonkers fast. Where you think you have to change gear, where it feels really, really fast, it's kind of got an extra little turbo boost right at full revs. So you've got to really hang on to the revs really to get the best out of this. Kind of scream it like a 600, but it just almost jumps out your hands like a rocket ship. It is incredible. The handling's fantastic, the brakes are amazing. I mean, it's a cold day today and a cold track, and riding on cold Michelins with such low tyre pressures, with no tyre warmers, is like riding a bit of a out of control blancmange at the beginning. It's not that pleasant. Perhaps we should have brought tyre warmers with us, or different brand of tyres might be a little bit friendlier. But once up to speed, the bike's amazing. Just a little word about what it was like on the way here this morning. As a road bike, it's got heated grips, it's got cruise control, it's got a really nice dash, riding position's quite roomy, quite a hard seat and a hard suspension setup, which never changes because you haven't got semi-active, but it's not too bad as a road bike. But you know, it would be a waste just using this bike on the road. Let's talk about the new bits, the aero. So you really notice a big difference with regard to how much wind protection this bike gives you. The fairing is a lot wider. You can kind of feel how wide the fairing is on your knees and your shins sometimes compared to a normal bike. They knock the fairing, whereas the normal bike's nice and thin. That never happens. But it allows you to get really tucked in out the wind. So coming down the start-finish straight here, going down Park Straight, you're in a still pocket of air. It's incredible, really, and you can see why it would go faster at top speed. So you know, that's a massive tick, and obviously this style fairing is allowed to go on the race bikes, and it's going to make the race bikes go faster as well. Can you notice the wheel covers and the sweeping mudguard that goes over the forks? Not really in isolation, but I'm sure that sort of all goes to help this thing slice through the Lincolnshire air that little bit better. And then the wings. So this bike, or a super bike like an S1000RR, I've raced my own one around here many times, and the places where it really wants to wheelie is at the beginning of the start-finish straight, sort of changing from third to fourth, where the track drops away, all the way down Park Straight, which is like a roller coaster of a section of tarmac. The bikes want to wheelie there, and the wheelie control on this, you know, the electronic wheelie control, the engine mapping and the wings really help this bike stay pinned to the ground. Obviously you can override it. Like I said earlier, Josh Brooks flies over the mountain with wings, and you can pull a wheelie on this if you want to because it's got so much power. But the wings do help. Whether all these changes make this a better track day bike is highly doubtful. I think we've said before about the old M1000RR. If you want a really good track day BMW, buy the S1000RR and save yourself an absolute shed full of money. Talking of cost, like I said earlier, this is 36 grand. That puts it in the realms of the exotic Ducatis. We rode some Panigales recently, a V4S in Sicily, in a comparison with the S1000RR, which you can see on another video. Really surprising results on that one. And I got to ride the Panigale V4R around Imola. Is this bike on the scale of a Ducati? Well, I think the Ducati is a much nicer thing. It's much more beautifully built. The components on it, you know, you've got Öhlins suspension, all that kind of stuff, and Brembos, which you haven't on the BMW. I would say as a bike to own, as a bike to cherish, the Ducati is the one to go for. It's a lot easier to ride now thanks to the way they're mapped. But if you want something, you know, really special, the BMW is so fast. You know, in the hands of track day riders, normal riders like you and me, it is amazing. Okay, it doesn't do well in racing, but you know, the difference between success and failure in racing is a couple of tenths, and that's what they're looking for. Riding this bike in road trim on a track day is more than you could ever hope for. It feels a lot like a racing bike, straight out the crate. It's got that hollowed out, light feel. It's got incredible brakes, it's got amazing power, and there's very few super bikes that look like this with such a massive fairing, massive wings and that big mudguard and wheel covers. It's got a very unique look. This bike just draws a crowd wherever you go. So that is our day spent at Cadwell on the M1000RR. I'm going to ride it home now and pump the tyres up first. But thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for our next video coming up soon.